Good morning, class. Good morning, Miss. My group and I will be presenting on Fabulous Barber Shop located on Cinderella and Progress Street. My group member consists of Melanie Oak, Abner Valladares, and myself, Blair Angon. To start off, we will be looking at the history of Fabulous Barber Shop. Theodora Chan was entered into a partnership as a barber in 1999 to 2000. However, it didn't work out and he was terminated. Chan later opened up his own business as a barber named Fabulous Barbershop in 2001. So to not disappoint his loyal customers he had and having them encouraging him to open up his own business, he did. Mr. Chan then became a sole proprietor. He decided to take that challenge and to help young men who wanted to learn the trade and to work in the barber shop to earn a weekly salary. At Fabulous Barbershop, they tend to cater for the best atmosphere and the cleanest they can be. Now we will be looking at some characteristics of the business. Fabulous Barbershop falls under a service business, a type of commercial business. So service business is a type of commercial business that mostly use labor to earn an income. In this case, Mr. Chan giving a haircut to his customers. He's offering an intangible product. He's doing a service to satisfy his clients' needs. Fabulous Barbershop achieves effectiveness by knowing what consumers want in order to keep customers satisfied. Example, knowing the different type of hairstyles consumer want. So knowing the what consumer wants plays a critical role in the business because it helps to achieve effectiveness. Like knowing the type of hairstyle stated, like that are in style and is of popular demand today, and to make sure they are the best at giving those type of hairstyles. Fabulous Barbershop study these habits and test them in order to give customers what they want when they go to their barbershop. The business also achieve efficiency by not wasting valuable time. For example, through technology and innovation like online appointment. So Fabulous Barbershop provides their services efficiently. So they ask clients to make appointments in order for them not to miss out on any money for the business because depending on just like walking, they are hanging around just waiting for people to come to them. So they won't be able to really like plan anything because they're afraid they might miss out on that money they could make. So in order to be efficient, they adapted to using the booking system. They can see how much of their time is booked and they can work smarter and not be missing out on the revenue they could make. The nature of a sole proprietor. Mr. Chan owns and manages the business. So Fabulous Barbershop is owned and managed by one person, Mr. Chan. He is known as a sole proprietor. He often performs he runs the day-to-day tasks with the help of hired employees in order for the business to run smoothly and to be a success. He provides expertise, he provides the money and the management, and because of this, he, as the owner, is entitled to all the profits earned by the business. He has full claims to the asset or the property owned, assuming that he doesn't owe anybody, that no debts are owed whatsoever. Next, please. So this is an organizational chart of Fabulous Barbershop. It is, however, simple. It shows the structure of the organizations, who reports to who. The barbershop is owned and operated by a single individual, Mr. Chan. So he doesn't answer to no one about the business operations. He handles all the decision making and the financial operations and the obligations. He needs to keep the business operations safe and legal. His three employees are his subordinates, the ones that report to him about any concerns that they might have. Um, this chart shows employee 1 to 13 an idea of where and how they fit into the company and who they should report to. And Mr. Chan is the only person they would report to. The same goes for Mr. Chan. He needs to communicate and address concerns with his employees. This is, however, called upward or downward communication too. The manager, Mr. Chan, needs to share information with his employees. This is called downward. An example would be he explained the shift that will take place to his employees, so that they get a clear understanding of what needs to be what needs to take place. The upward communication takes place when Mr. Chan employees transmit information to him. They may address concern to him maybe about the time schedule of the appointment. Now, Melanie will be presenting on the disadvantages and advantages of a sole proprietor.
Advantages and disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. The first advantage is he is his own boss. By being his own boss at his place, it makes a big difference since he will have a great advantage when hiring and employing persons for his small business. Also, as he being the owner and boss at the same time for his small business, he can establish different rules and regulations for his employees which they have to respect in order for the business to be presentable. As I said, as he as the boss and owner have big privileges on the business since he being a sole proprietorship won't depend on others' opinions but his. The second advantage is business does not require a large amount of capital. What I mean when I say what that the business does not require a large amount of capital is that the business of cotton here can start from a small portion of capital. For example, as Mr. Chan explained, that he began working with another person, but then as he went gaining on his little money, he began to buy his equipment. The other advantage is that he receives all profits. The owner then receives all the profits made when cutting the hair. He benefits most since he is the one to take the profits that were gained during the working hours. And also sometimes, as he stated, that he on weekends, for example, Sundays, he cuts hair at his house, so he makes an extra money out of his work. The other advantage is that owner knows all his employees. This is an advantage because when the owner wants or hires a person, he first has to get to know the person and contact them so he can know his abilities, his strengths, and weaknesses as well. But also, he will know if the person has the capacity to accomplish the customer's wants or if the person needs more training on the work. Another advantage is he has made loyal customers. During his work and dedication, he has gained a lot of loyal customers and loyal employees as well. Since these persons always go back to the barber shop since they feel satisfied with the results of the haircuts and styles that the business offers or employees can do. As I said, they have also gained loyal employees since they will tell their friends or family members and they will keep on going and try what is it. The other one is he can make his own decision in the business. As he being the owner, he doesn't have to consult anybody to make his own decisions. He can take and make actions and decisions that are best or what he thinks is best for his business that will make the business to continue to operate with the flexible decisions being made. And the last advantage I would say is that it has job security. So What I mean when I say he has job security, well, it's because he can get a job in any place or any barber shop. I mean, since he has the skills and abilities and is also experienced with this type of work. Or also, he can do the work at home with the persons who are interested in. Now, I will continue with the disadvantages of a sole proprietorship. The first disadvantage is that the owner may lack funds. This is a disadvantage since this might constantly happen in most of the cases because the owner may be busy on getting aware of how much capital is needed to continue operating on a day-to-day basis. The second disadvantage would be the raising of prices can be difficult. The rising of prices may be difficult, and this can affect the business if you decide to make changes because most of the customers sometimes tend to go to cheaper places. Another disadvantage is that there is difficult time when hiring employees. These times when hiring employees are difficult since not everybody is experienced or likes the type of job that they offer. Most of the time, people need training in order to get ready to start working in the world of the cutting hair. Another disadvantage or great disadvantage would be that there is a lot of competition. There is a lot, or here in town, there is a lot of competition. I would say that in any corner that you turn around, you can find a barber shop. This competition may cause a low income to come in for the business, which will negatively affect the owner and also the employees. Another disadvantage would be that no liability protection is offered. The business the business does not provide or doesn't offer liability for the workers. For example, if there is an injury or something goes wrong with the health of a worker, then the business is not responsible or don't give liability or so-called insurance to the person. It is harder to sell your business, meaning that if you plan to sell your business, then you have to prepare a plan ahead of time and try to make a profit out of it since because of your hard work. And nowadays people don't have that much interest or experience on this type of jobs. And the last disadvantage would be that it bears all losses. The owner then becomes responsible for all the losses and debts that the business struggles with. And as like people like to say that he enjoys all gains and bears all losses. Next slide, please. The type of management and leadership style. The type of management and the type of management style that Fabulous Barbershop portrays is the flexible management style. It is this style because then it mostly depends on the situation and as I said, it only adjusts when on the situation that is being faced. So the boss tends to work with employees so to determine what is the best style although working with experienced or unexperienced workers. An example of this would be that the employees that have experience they don't need close supervision by the manager or a supervisor, and the new employees do because they're just starting with the work. And then the type of leadership style that Mr. Chan shows is a situational leadership style. It is this since he joins each unique situation or task to meet the customer's wants. It is also say that this type of leadership deals with employee problems. For example, then in this case, I would say that an example would be that if any of his employees, any of the employees family member have an accident or something, he as the owner will try to handle with some of his problems and try to make any decision to help him.
Okay, now we move on to the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis stands for strengths and weaknesses. So the strengths of Fabulous Barbershops, first one being the owner. He's a sole proprietor, so he gets to call all the shots when it comes to the business. He makes all the decisions, whether to buy new equipment, hire or fire an employee, and so on and so on. A plus for very big plus for Fabulous is that the owner himself has over 20 years of experience in the business. This in any business is a very huge plus, and with the owner being the main one, this means that he has little to no margin of error when it comes to cutting someone's hair. Almost never no complaints from the customers since he's been doing this technically from a majority of his life. When you do some things that for that long, you get pretty good at it, almost perfect to say the least. Another one would be that Fabulous Barbershops is a staple amongst Orange Rock community. Personally, I've been going to him for easily over 17 years now, and he's been doing this for before that, and that's a pretty long time. And when you do that for a long time and still keep doing it for this extended amount of time, um, it becomes like a very routine thing to know people. Like let's say a person comes into town and he needs a haircut for something, let's say a date. Where would people refer to him? Fabulous Barbershops. He's good, pretty pretty knows what he's doing, reasonable prices, and the atmosphere there is pretty good. And an outstanding reputation, as I said, people know him from a very long time. People talk about him. Everything, almost no bad reviews. All good. Everything is positive because that's who he is. The atmosphere in there is pretty welcoming and outstanding to say the least. Not like a very good, like a stigma of barbershops being all rough and tough, especially here in Belize. It isn't like that. It's very welcoming, very fresh, and pretty, and I say nostalgic to say the least. And the location as well. Throughout its lifetime, Fabulous Barbershop has changed a few locations, but each time it's been accessible to the loyal customers. What do I say by this? Most of the time, you can see them located in the center of town, maybe sometimes at the owner's residence. Like for example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, that's what happened. But the location is always known and always easily accessible, not a very far away place. And like I said, the economical price range. What does this mean? Most barbershops tend to have a little bit of a low price when it comes to your haircuts, but Fabulous does a little exception to it since he's conscious that some people may not maybe in a little bit of a squeeze when it comes to money. Again, COVID-19 left everyone pretty much bare bones, struggling, and it's good to have this type of conscience that people are struggling. So let me try to help them out a little bit by reducing my prices or making some exceptions here and there. That's pretty good. But now we move on to the weaknesses. A stigma amongst barbershops is that they're mainly catered towards men. And that is true. By doing this, it leaves out an entire demographic, which are females, and that's huge business. That's wasted right there. It goes nowhere. So many people, let's say a guy comes to the barber shop and then his girlfriend or wife is with him. She too needs to get ready for, say, an event. She has to go somewhere else, and so on, so on. And this creates like a loss of money in sorts. For the exception of Fabulous, is that there's a constant influx and outflux of employees. Excuse me. What does this mean? He tends to have that employees come, they learn a little bit of experience, work for a bit of money, and then they tend to leave, either to go do something else or to even start up their own barbershops somewhere else. Um, this is a bit of a problem since sometimes there's the occasion that an employee is really good at it, really knows what he's doing, and then he ends up leaving. That's very terrible. And then also there's a gap there that the employee creates that the owner must fill up in order to keep up with the demand of haircuts and so on. And also paying all new employees for them to just leave later. That's not really good since you pay someone for so long and then they just get up and leave. Now you need to hire someone else, and that's a bit of a struggle for someone who's a sole proprietor and he has to do everything himself. Now we move on to the other part of the SWOT analysis, which are the opportunities and threats. Now, a great opportunity for Fabulous Barbershops is that they can expand some different, like I said, include a demographic of females, include like a salon extension to the place. This can, of course, be beneficial to the business itself, and it can be more inclusive of everyone. Another one is that Fabulous tends to keep up with the times and with the trends of hairstyles that are here and there. A few years ago, hairstyle was curly hair, fade. He knew what to do it perfectly, do perfectly. All kinds of hairstyles, all kinds of hair types. He knows what to do. That's a very big plus, and there's an opportunity to learn more in this as well. Also, there's a very big opportunity to establish a brand. Since he has so many loyal customers, he can take a venture into something different or just follow up in the exact same path of barbershops. His loyal customers will be there to back him up and everything will be okay. This is a very big opportunity that will be missed probably, but let's hope not. Now, the threats to the company, competition. There is no joke when it comes to how many barbershops are in Belize itself. And in Orange Rock by itself, in the center of Orange Rock, there's at least 5 barbershops, all totally different owned, all competing here and there, all having their loyal customers. Now, this is terrible in any business and isn't really good for anyone. And now, another threat would be every time an employee leaves, I said, there could be the loss of very good potential there with one of them. And this is terrible for the business since that also creates a very big competition in the later on if that person decides to continue on with their career or not. Either way, this is terrible for the company since again, he needs to hire someone else to fill up that void. Another one, and this is a pretty big threat, which was seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, is the heavy reliance on customers. Without customers, and businesses such as barbershops tend to suffer so much terrible, terrible losses since without customers to get a haircut, there is no business at all. There's no backup, no nothing, and this is just completely devastating for the owner since he has no form of revenue apart from this. And this could potentially lead to the business closing down. But now we move on to the final part of our presentation, which are the recommendations for business. Now, there are many recommendations you can do to a business who has been doing this for over 20 years and has been pushing through the times. But a few would be that create a partnership with an employee. Ever since I've been going to the Fabulous, I've only seen one permanent barber, which is of course Mr. Chan. There has been no other one who has been for a extended period of time. So a good idea would be to maybe hire a permanent employee, create a partnership with an employee. This would allow the owner for, let's say, in case he wants to take a vacation or anything, he can do that and that employee will take over. He can run the shop and that owner can do something else. Or if in the case the owner gets sick, the business will not shut down. They will still be running, still be revenue. And of course, this is good for everyone. Another one would be to establish a chain of barbershops under the umbrella of Fabulous Barbershop. What would this mean? That maybe the owner can establish some sort of a partnership with other existing barbershops around the area. And in so he can build their brand and maybe attract those loyal customers into the Fabulous Barbershop. This is, of course, more money, more revenue. Maybe he can expand into rural areas where there are some loyal customers out there who find it difficult to get all the way into town. There, more money, they can expand into that demographic of rural areas and villages and so on. This is of course big money for the company, and it would be a risk to do, but since he already has so many loyal customers, it will pretty much take off almost instantaneously. Another one would be to elevate the client experience. As I said, if they are to expand for, let's say, out of Orange Rock, that's pretty good for everyone. And elevate the client experience would mean even more easily accessible locations for the customers, as I said, who live in rural areas such as villages and such. A fabulous barbershop opens up in their village. they go there, and if they follow the trend of every chain of business, means that they provide the same service. There it is. And that person will come in more and more and more customers, and better for the business. Thank you.
This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.